I would say by far the biggest question that I get this time of year is, when is the best time to sell? So you don't need me for that. You can do a quick Google search and they will tell you spring market, spring market, spring market. And historically, that's absolutely correct. But in recent years, everything's a little bit up and down, and it is really hard to predict. Of course, with the rates, they're going down slowly. So we do have a big group of people that are waiting for those rates to come down. We just simply haven't seen the effect that everybody thought it would with the rate cuts we've had so far. Obviously, it'll get to a threshold where it'll bump the market, but we just don't know when that's going to be. So there's two things to really consider: is what your real estate goals are, i.e. when you plan to move, and what type of property do you have. And I'll just give you an example. This year in February, we were busier than we were in the springtime, okay? And a lot of that has to do with buyer sentiment. So buyers right now aren't in that feeding frenzy, and they're believing that there's always more houses coming up and we're not going to overpay for a property. And as a result, what that does is it doesn't bring this competition and drive up this market even higher. So we're not seeing those spring market jumps like we would historically see. If you have a country property, you might want to consider listing it early summer. That way everything's green, everything's lush, the flowers are great, and the property looks beautiful. But for instance, I have a client now, he needs to move at the end of April. He wants to give himself enough cushion. So what we did is we listed his property last week, give him a few months to sell, a few months to close. He's got no anxiety, and we know we're going to get the job done. So he doesn't want to take the risk, wait to springtime, and then have the property not sell and sit all the way throughout the summer. So he would rather be proactive that way. So that's why I tell you, it is very much seller dependent on when to list the property. And one thing to really consider is, I don't care how good you are as an agent, you cannot predict the market, all right? There's too much going on, and we are gauging the market on a weekly basis right now. So if you guys really want to know when to list your property and what time is best for you, give me a shout. I'd be more than happy to have that conversation. So if anybody out there needs to know when's the best time to list their property, I would tell them to call me personally, and then we can go through exactly what their expectations are, what their needs are, what their wants are, and we could really determine and narrow that timeline down.